Hello, Mr. Connelly. Uh, my name's Kevin Donahoe, and I'm both a self-representing attorney and also a person that was unfairly mangled and deformed and is disabled by a medical malpractice that took place. So basically, what this is all about is I'm beginning my conversation with you to ask you to kindly make a accommodation for the disabled like me by doing the following. Basically, I'd very much appreciate it if you go to my website under digital communications and give me permissions to contact you with the assistive technology that I use for my disability. I know this may seem a little bold or something you've never heard of before, but I can assure you that basically the technologies I use to accommodate my disability require me to actually have digital permissions to do anything, really, even email you. So this is required because I actually have very impressive business partners and they require these digital communications to talk with you. If you have ever had bad experience with people spamming you, or for instance, you're not sure if their site will give you viruses, I'd encourage you to check out my privacy policy page and look at some of the partners I partner with. We're all very responsible. We're not going to allow breaches of your emails or anything like that. And certainly websites like youtube.com and my website at wix.com, you don't have to fear getting a virus. We actually are very responsible vendors. But of course, I'm actually contacting you as a personal person, not as a corporate officer. I just use the technologies that assist my disability through my corporation, but actually I'm attempting to contact you versus as a personal person. Of course, I originally became aware of you because some of the same people that falsely accused me and failed to rescue me, I saw on the internet where someone was doing depositions of them, like Judge Gary Taper and things like that, as part of the OK Boys Ranch lawsuit. And I'm very impressed that you know how to basically do depositions on powerful people like that think they're somehow above the law from being sued for negligence on the way they handled situations. Without going into details too much, the lawsuit I'll be bringing on city government officials will make the 63 million look like small potatoes. But that's because I actually am before I was disabled, an extremely talented consultant, and I actually have some ideas on how to partner with movie makers and really do some impressive things to alter our society. But of course, the first thing we're going to talk about is something you probably never heard of once you give me digital permissions to contact you digitally, is I'm sure normally you look at a case and take it like the OK Boys Ranch only if you feel like you're going to win. But I'm actually interested in getting an online discussion going with you in 4K video about what if someone like me came along who's a self-representing attorney and actually paid you in advance, so you don't have to worry about whether I'm going to win or not, but actually paid you at your going rate to do things for me, like go do depositions of some extremely powerful people. And of course, you'd be doing things in a real interesting way with 4K videos. It wouldn't be like, you know, a transcriber or old-fashioned VHS tapes or anything like that. There'd actually be a professional video crew that does, you know, commercials, Hollywood things, going with you for the deposition. So it's kind of a little bit unusual. I imagine you've probably never thought of doing something like that. But I know one of the things that people are prejudiced against is disabled people, and of course that's against the law. You could literally go bankrupt by not approving real reasonable accommodation requests. But the other thing that seems to be a real problematic thing here in Washington is self-representing attorneys are basically viewed as crazy people, or people that are just out for a witch hunt or things like that. And I can assure you, in California, they do things like the moment you say you want to be a self-representing attorney, they give you for free things like paralegals, investigators, computers. So it just kind of depends on the location where you're at, whether self-representing attorneys are viewed as crazy people that are not thinking or things like that, or actually they're exercising their First Amendment rights and other rights in the Bill of Rights in the federal Constitution to speak for themselves. So anyway, after you decide whether to approve my request to have you give me permissions digitally to talk with you about this, that'll be the first thing we'll talk about is what would be your hourly rate as the top leader of your organization to do various things for me, like handle depositions. And eventually, since I have some kind of an interesting way of coming up with money to pay you in advance, literally, I'm not only interested in your hourly rate to do something like that, but actually your whole office, to consume your whole office with paid work for long periods of time, really. But it would start out perhaps at 3 months for your entire office, or for just you as the top person who's very impressive in court. So we're basically going to talk about your hourly rate, and it doesn't matter what it is. The techniques I'll be using to get the money to pay you are, it's kind of like the sky's the limit when you're a disabled person. You can basically ask for anything that's reasonable, and given your background on holding governments accountable and basically defending people that have been injured very badly like I have, I'll have no problems, really, I don't think, putting in requests to actually have you paid in advance. So that would be our first discussion, really, once you give me online permissions to contact you in a real high-tech way based upon my disability, the technology I use to accommodate my disability. So I really hope to get your permissions to talk to you about this, because it's pretty impressive what you did back then, and unfortunately some of the same people that were causing were doing negligence and not rescuing people way back there when the OK Boys Ranch occurred, they were still doing it in modern day times. So I guess for some reason they were allowed to stay in power and just kept on damaging other people like me with their negligence. So I look forward to hearing from you whether you accept or reject my my request to accommodate my disability by giving me electronic permissions to contact you. Again, you have a real impressive track record on helping people like me, and I'm kind of looking forward to striking up a conversation with you.